Quote, atheists differ on the issue of ethics and morality. Some claim that there are absolutes and some do not.
Of course, atheism doesn't address the issue of morality. Atheism is nothing more than a lack of belief in gods. That's it.
Atheists make epistemic statements about morality, what is, but do not provide an ontological premise for ethics, what should be. That is to say that they can muse upon issues of morality and come to any conclusion that they please. However, these turn out to be arbitrary personal preferences that are expressed as dogmatic assertions.
Wrong.
Let's take a simple example. Is it okay to kill people? What happens if people are allowed to go around killing each other? Well, people get killed, obviously. I don't want to get killed. You don't want to get killed. Nor do you want people you care about to get killed. So there's a chance that you'd want to kill me if I were to kill someone you care about. Then my friends who care about me would want to kill you, and we'd end up killing each other left and right. As Gandhi put it, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Here's an idea. Let's agree that since people generally don't want to get killed, let's just not kill each other. Is this arbitrary? Is this just my personal preference? Is it dogmatic? No. It objectively benefits society if its members don't kill each other. That's why killing is wrong. Not because someone decided that it was wrong, but because it's detrimental to society. And since I'm part of society, that means it's bad for me as well. The only thing that remains arbitrary, I suppose, is that I give a damn about what's good for me. That can easily be explained by natural selection. Individuals who don't care about their own well-being will tend to die off, and that means that those who instinctively care about this, sane people, are more likely to survive and reproduce, passing on this instinct to future generations. Quote, some atheists do make an attempt at providing an ontological basis for ethics. These range quite widely, from considering the behavior of apes to game theory. In the first case, it is, of course, being presupposed that we share a common evolutionary lineage with apes and that their behavior tells us something about ours.
Yeah, it's presupposed in this particular case because we already know it to be true based on other observations like DNA and the fossil record, but this article isn't supposed to be about evolution, right? It's supposed to be about atheism, so can we get on with it?
Quote, even when such observations successfully correlate their behaviors to ours, it's merely a description. Moreover, from such correlations, it is inferred that morality is part of our overall evolution. This amounts to intuition or urges which we are free to act upon or disregard.
Is there a point?
These observations do offer an explanation to why we have these urges. There's one possible basis for ethics. The fact that it's not impossible to disregard this intuitive understanding of right and wrong doesn't conflict with reality in any way. Don't people do things that they know are wrong all the time? In fact, isn't that what you guys keep saying? That we all sinned? Quote, in the second case, investigators concoct games that they claim dissect human behavior. With regards to game theory, Benjamin Weicker notes, by using games with fewer rules than Candyland, the Darwinian game theorists are claiming to uncover the fundamental principles governing our decision-making mechanisms. We'd better take a closer look, starting with their presuppositions. The answer seems to be that whatever has survived must be the most fit. Therefore, whatever exists must have been the result of natural selection. Fairness exists, therefore it must be the result of natural selection, QED. It's always convenient to have a theory that cannot possibly be proved wrong. It's not that fairness exists that proves it to be a result of natural selection. It's the observation that fairness is beneficial to the group. Had it been demonstrated that in games with minimal rules, groups in which the members act like jerks do better, that would have indicated that fairness likely isn't the result of natural selection. Another supposed basis for ethics is that an action is unethical or immoral if it causes harm to others. Consider the example of adulterous behavior. Under the do no harm definition of ethical behavior, adultery is wrong because it harms the other party in the marriage. However, what if an adulterous act did not lead to any negative outcomes? In such an instance, would adultery cease to be unethical?
No. Don't look at the individual act. Look at why the behavior might be harmful to society.
The behavior in question here is dishonesty. The husband is breaking his word. Does it not benefit us all if we can all agree to be honest and honor the commitment we make? No one wants to be betrayed, so let's agree not to betray each other. That's why breaking one's word is unethical. An ethical code based on God is determined by God's communication with man of what is ethical and unethical.
Oh, you mean the book that says slavery is okay, and that you should murder your children if they misbehave, that you should kill your family if they don't share your religious beliefs? The book that condones rape, incest, and genocide? Do I really need to go on?
Under such an ethical code, and in contrast to any godless moral code, a given action such as adultery is still wrong even in absence of adverse consequences to another party. Thus, under a God-authored ethical code, some actions are inherently wrong. Yeah, like eating shellfish, or working on Sundays, or having consensual sex with someone of your own gender. Sorry, but this code does not define ethics. It condones things that are detrimental to society, like genocide or persecuting or even killing those who disagree with you, and condemns things that are beneficial. Gender equality, working on Sundays when there's work that needs to be done, or coveting your neighbor's goods. Yep, the Bible condemns capitalism. You're confusing ethics with obedience to a set of rules written in a time when societies weren't nearly as advanced as they are today, and people hadn't made a fraction of the discoveries, scientific and philosophical, that we have made today. It's obsolete, and Christians know it because they typically don't think very highly of slavery or genocide. The Greek philosopher Epicurus stated the classic form of the problem of evil. His syllogism may be stated: 1. If a perfectly good God exists, then there is no evil in the world. 2. There is evil in the world. 3. Therefore, a perfectly good God does not exist. The logic behind the argument, again attributed to Epicurus, runs thus. Either God wants to abolish evil and cannot, or he can, but does not want to. If he wants to, but cannot, then he is impotent. If he can, but does not want to, then he is wicked. If God can abolish evil, and God really wants to do it, why is there evil in the world? Epicurus' logic behind the argument fails because he proposes a restricted number of options. It's a false dichotomy. 1. Either God wants to abolish evil and cannot. 2. Or he can but does not want to. Yet biblically and philosophically, a third option is that God wants to abolish evil and can, yet he functions on his own timing and he has not done it yet because he has a higher purpose in allowing evil to persist for a time. Okay, so is God unable to achieve this higher purpose without letting people suffer, or is he unwilling? If he's unable, then he's impotent. If he's unwilling, then he's wicked. If he's able and willing, why is there evil in the world? Adding this higher purpose doesn't help your case. The underlying problem remains: is God impotent or is he wicked? An omnipotent and perfectly good God cannot exist because this is incompatible with observable reality. Quote, note also, as we point out on the site, God did not create the world with evil. It's a result of sin. The source of evil is completely irrelevant to whether God is willing and able to eliminate it or not. If he is omnipotent, he can. If he is good, he wants to. But why do you even bring this up? Are you saying God is not to blame for evil? Okay, who do you believe created sin? Satan, right? And who created Satan? God, right? Did he not know what would happen? Is he not all-knowing? Did he know but somehow fail to make the leap from if I create Satan, he'll screw up my creation, to therefore I probably shouldn't create Satan? What's God's IQ? 9? By bringing this up, you're saying that God is not just wicked, impotent, or both, he's also stupid. Thank you, I love it when apologists make their own religion look even dumber than it already does. Atheism and the Euthyphro dilemma. The Euthyphro dilemma calls into question the very basis, foundation, grounding, or premise upon which theistic morality is built. Its name comes from Plato's work, Euthyphro, wherein Socrates proposes the dilemma which states, 1. Is something good because God proclaims it to be good? 2. Or does God proclaim something to be good because it is good? While many theologies fail to answer the Euthyphro dilemma, biblical Trinitarian theology does not fail. The solution is that this is a false dilemma. Perfect goodness is an essential part of his character, not something outside him. God indeed commands things which are good, but the reason they are good is because they reflect God's own nature. So the goodness does not come ultimately from God's commandments, but from his nature, which then results in good commandments. This may be a poor choice of words, but is not God's nature imposed upon God the way my nature is imposed upon me? Can he, hypothetically speaking, choose to change his nature? If so, will his new nature be the new definition of good? See how you're not solving the problem? I'll clarify. 1. Is something good because it's in God's nature? 2. Or is God's nature good?
We either have morality by fiat, which isn't morality at all, it's just obedience to authority, or you're using some other standard to determine that God's nature is good. In which case, morality obviously doesn't come from God or his nature.
Atheism's problem of evil. Quote, atheism not only does nothing about evil, atheism actually makes evil even worse. Atheism guarantees that evil is for nothing. It has no greater purpose or meaning. It guarantees no redemption of evil.
Wrong. Atheism guarantees nothing. It's a lack of belief in gods. That's it.
Quote, in the absolute materialism that atheism implies, evil is very purposeful in that it benefits the evildoer. The evildoer commits evil acts, and as long as they are not caught, they evade the judicial systems of this world and simply get away with it, the victim suffers and may suffer for decades while the evildoer enjoyed committing evil deeds.
Are you saying that this isn't exactly what we observe in reality? That life is unfair?
Quote, the fact of evil in the world is one of the very best reasons for rejecting atheism.
Please take a moment to contemplate how stupid that was. You're actually saying that one of the best arguments you have, one of the best arguments for the existence of God, because the only way to argue against atheism is with an argument for the existence of a God, and one of the best arguments you can provide is that reality looks just like it would if there was no God. Wow.
You operate from the assumption that there is ultimate justice. Since crimes sometimes go unpunished in life, you conclude that there must be an afterlife where a just God administers the appropriate punishment. Look, the fact that you want there to be ultimate justice doesn't make it so. Essentially, what you just said is that one of the best reasons for believing in God is because it's comforting. I don't care about what's comforting, I care about what's true. Theism's reward and punishment versus atheism's pure motives. An argument against Christian claims of God-ordained ethics that has become ubiquitous in atheist circles is that Christian morality is actually immoral since, so the claim goes, it depends upon threats of punishment and enticements to receive rewards. This applies to various religions. Christianity does not hold to a works-based salvation doctrine, and thus good deeds do not buy heaven.
Oh, so it's not a simple matter of do whatever this book says. Okay, for one, stop saying so, and for another, why would you do good things then? Wouldn't it be better to just do evil things that only benefit you? Tell me, why be moral?
Quote, Christians would likely answer, why be moral, by referencing, for the love of God and the love of humans who were made in God's image.
So it's because it gets you what you want. Thanks, moving on.
Atheism's pure motives? Quote, the twin fallacy of the theism's reward and punishment claim is the claim that sans divine reward and punishment, only atheists have pure motives for morality, or doing good since they are doing so merely for its own sake. To the contrary, atheists may be seeking public approval, may seek to give in order to get, may even be seeking to be thought of as a purely motivated atheist, etc.
I'm glad we agree that we're both in the same boat then. We do good things because it gets us what we want, or at least because it feels good. Thank you for agreeing that God has absolutely nothing to do with morality. Now tell me, what the hell was the point of this chapter?